Not sure where to start with insurance billing? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide through the billing process just so you can feel confident about it and you can submit your first or your fifth or 12th claim. My name is Adrienne. I am a private practice owner. I am also a speech language pathologist. And for the past 13 years, I've built my business with insurance. So don't always listen to people that say you can never build a practice on insurance billing because it's too hard and too complicated. It is hard and it is complicated. I'm not going to lie. But the more you do it, the more you know, the better you'll get. All right. So I'm making videos to help you along the way. So there are 4 steps of the overall billing process. This is by no means a comprehensive video, but I'm the kind of learner that I kind of need to see a little bit of the big picture first and then break it down into steps. So let's do that. There are 4 steps. Number 1 is verify benefits. It doesn't matter who says what the patient has, the family member, the doctor's office. It is on you to be sure that you verify benefits. When I say verify benefits, I simply mean contacting the insurance company in some way to be sure that the patient has benefits and you're sure what they will pay or not pay. So that looks one of 2 ways. First thing, you can always call the insurance company. And my billing person and I did make a video going over our process in our clinic of the questions we ask when we call the insurance company. The second way you can do it is actually getting online and logging onto their portal or an outside portal, such as like an Availity. But most insurance companies now have their own portals. So when you are credentialed or the insurance company accepts you as a provider, you should have access to someone you could talk to. Reach out to that person or call the number, the customer service, and ask them, do you have a portal? Do you have a training for that portal? Now, because it's an insurance company, I gotta let you know, very rarely will an insurance company like take your hand and walk you through it. It's kind of one of those things they'll say, here's the information and wish you the best. I always say we like our insurance companies, but they certainly don't make it easy for us to find the information. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed or frustrated, tap out, circle back to it, but don't avoid it. All right. The next thing is you're going to complete the HCFA 1500 form. I have mine all marked up. I'm putting it in front of the camera, and I know I'm still a little tech challenged. But at the end of the day, all insurance billing needs this HCFA 1500 form. If you Google it, you'll see a red and white form. You can buy them. You can probably download them if you have a PDF filler or something like that. But really, this form tells the insurance company what you did and how much they're going to pay you and why you did it, right? And so maybe I'll make a video about that in coming up. But whether you bill, and you may be saying, but I don't bill paper, Adrienne. What the heck does a HCFA 1500 form have to do with me? Well, this form will also be on insurance portals. This form is also on your EMR. So if you're billing through Simple Practice or we use Simplify, or Clinic Source, all of them have taken a form of this with the most pertinent information, and that's what you're going to fill in. For my school SLPs, if you've done any Medicaid billing, chances are those blanks you were filling in are part of this form, all right? So it's just like the online version of it. So it's most important that when you're billing and putting the information, whether it's on paper, in a clearinghouse like Availity or another one, or something, or even on your EMR, it's really important that you look out for these things. Things like be sure the patient's name is spelled correctly. Be sure that the address is incorrectly. Also, you want to be sure that you have the correct diagnosis code. And if there's a modifier, that you'll need to make sure that that you use a modifier. Another thing that you need to be sure is the date of service. And it is okay to, if you're using multiple codes, to do codes for the same date of service. All right. I want to be sure that that is pretty clear, and be sure that you have things like your patient's account number and that you have the group ID. And that does lead me to something, and I'm not trying to open a can of worms, but if you have an NPI-1 number, you also, if you're billing insurance, even if you're a solo practitioner, don't forget, you will also need an NPI-2 number. And so I know that it feels like, well, it's just me, and I never want to hire. Go ahead and get that NPI-2 number anyway. All right. All right. So we've briefly touched on the HCFA 1500 form. The next thing is submit the claim. So when I say submit the claim, if you're using your computer, your laptop, or software, you're going to submit that electronically. You don't have to use an EMR to bill insurance. You can submit this form, this paper form. You can mail that in. You can also use what we call clearing. Well, I don't call them that, but clearinghouses. So clearinghouses is kind of like the middle ground between paper and an EMR. The clearinghouse is a place where you submit the claim and it goes straight to the insurance company. So in actuality, most EMRs will use a clearinghouse as their middle ground too. So you're kind of avoiding the middleman. And I don't want to make this a little bit more complicated than it is. But when you use an EMR for billing, the wonderful thing about that is you're not manually entering a patient every time, because they have your EMR, your electronic medical record, has that information already, right? And so really what you're doing is a lot of pointing and clicking. If you're using a clearinghouse, Availity is the one that comes to mind. Office Ally is another one. You will probably have to enter each patient, each treatment individually. But that is a very cost-effective way, because most clearinghouses do not charge. If they do, it's very nominal. It's lower than an EMR for sure. But I do want to say this as your big sister in speech, as someone who loves to save money and loves to save when she can. Remember, time is also something you want to save. So if something costs $50 a month, but you can do your billing in 30 minutes, but something is free, but it takes you 3 hours, I'll pay the $50. And I know you think, oh, I don't really have it to spend. But I want to say if you have a life, you should have one, right? But let me just answer the question for you. Save yourself the 3 hours, because you want to make that, it's worth it in the end, you know? All right, so you submit the claim, and then step 4 is that you're going to follow up. In insurance, follow up is the name of the game. And so make sure you check your claim status if you haven't received payment. And I have 30 days, but I'm going to be honest, many insurance companies, especially Medicaid, tend to pay quicker than that. So if it's been like 2 weeks, check your claim status. Don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to check the portal to see if there's any mistakes or anything that got your claim kicked back, okay? And so that is the overall billing process, right? It is verifying client benefits. It is completing the HCFA 1500 form, submitting the form, and then following up. Well, if you found this video helpful, please, please share it with someone who would benefit from it. Subscribe. I'm doing these all the time. Also, in the comments, put what you'd like for me to talk about. Like I said, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've also had a lot of wins. And I'm here to tell you, if you're feeling discouraged, if you're feeling overwhelmed, this is something you can do, and this is something you can understand. All right? Well, that is all that we have. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that. Also, we have a course coming up in January. I am teaching a insurance billing course for therapy practices. We had a great time last time, and everyone that came out, they said they had such a good time and they really learned a lot. And at the end, we just want you to be knowledgeable about the insurance process. Okay, I'm done. Until next time, have a good one.